Hey everyone, so last month I had a birthday, so you know what that means, more books. I received some books as gifts, received some gift cards, some cash, and of course what did I do with those? Turn it all into more books. So I just wanted to share with you my birthday book haul. I have 15 books here. That'll be some things that I'll be reading in the next few months and probably talking about on the channel as well. So let's jump right in. So one of the first things I wanted to do when I got some gift cards and some cash for books is, of course, go to my favorite author, because I'm almost at the point where I have collected everything that Stephen King has written. And the selections I've found recently are some things that I frankly didn't know exist until recently. The first of which is this book called Secret Windows. And the subtitle is Essays in Fiction on the Craft of Writing by Stephen King. This apparently was a supplement to the Stephen King Book Club when he published his book on writing. And there's a listing on the back of the various things that he's done. Some of these are just introductions and things for other novels that he's written, some essays and some fiction as well. But it's Stephen King. It doesn't matter what he's writing about. He can write, a shopping list and I would want to read it. So I'm very much looking forward to reading Secret Windows. Some other King selections are some things that I didn't know exist either. So very recently, King published a book called Wendys Final Task. And when I clicked on it on Amazon, I saw that it was the third book of this Gwendy series, and I had never heard of this. So of course I picked up the trilogy. The first of which, I don't know how I missed out on this book, but it was a novella by Stephen King and Richard Chizmar called Gwendy's Button Box. So I found a great used copy of this because it's hard to find the hardcover now. But this was the first one. The second one was written by Chizmar himself, and this novel is called Gwendy's Magic Feather. I love how these covers just kind of go along with one another. And then the most recent one is King and Chizmar together, and this is called Gwendy's Final Task. So these are not very long. I think the three of them, I could easily, put these down in a week or so. But I did that upside down. But these are not very long, and I'm very much looking forward to these. So at this point, I'm down to one book by Stephen King that I don't have yet. So I'm just furiously searching for Dance Macabre, which is one of his nonfiction works, and it's hard to find a hardcover edition in good condition at a price I'm willing to pay. But I'll keep searching. I've been pretty close in a couple eBay auctions, but I'm very much looking forward to completing my Stephen King collection, at least until Fairy Tale comes out later this year. So up next, another author that I love that I haven't read quite as much recently is John Steinbeck. I've read most of Steinbeck's most famous works. East of Eden is probably my favorite of all of his works, but I love Grapes of Wrath, Of Mice and Men, and a few of the others. Well, I was spending a Barnes & Noble gift card, and I picked up 3 Steinbeck when I was there. They're all kind of short, and I don't know a whole lot about most of them, but the first one is The Red Pony. The only thing I know about this one is that it was turned into a film, and the composer Aaron Copland wrote the music. I know the music from The Red Pony, but this is a pretty slim volume, so this will probably go down in one sitting. The next one by Steinbeck that I picked up is called Cannery Row. And I've seen a few book bloggers rave about this one, saying that they think this one is better than Grapes of Wrath and some of the other more famous works by Steinbeck. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this one since it has such critical acclaim. And then the last one, this one probably has my favorite title of anything in this book haul, and that is The Winter of Our Discontent. I have no idea what it's about, but the title's amazing and it's Steinbeck, so I'm sure it'll be something that I'll enjoy reading. So I'll be talking about some Steinbeck in the future months. Next selection I picked up that I'll tell you about is kind of along the lines of Stephen King's Secret Windows. An artist talking about their craft. This is a book called A Soprano on Her Head by Eloise Ristad. Right Side Up Reflections on Life and Other Performances. This is a nonfiction work by an operatic soprano, and a mentor of mine recommended this to me. It talks about performing and life and just sounds like one of those great nonfiction memoirs that I love hearing artists talk about their craft, and this one, performance in general. As a musician, I'm always going to read a book like that, especially if it comes highly recommended like this one. So a Soprano on her head, definitely looking forward to that one. So up next, when I was at that Barnes & Noble book haul, I went to the fantasy section with one goal in mind. I wanted to pick up something new to me from an author that's new to me. But what I didn't want to do was start another new series, because I'm going to talk about 2 series at the end of this book haul here, and I already have a laundry list of series that I want to read pretty soon. So I was looking for something new, and I discovered The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. Now, this was already on the TBR because Murphy Napier did a rave review of this probably about a year ago. And even though I don't normally have the same taste in books as she does, her enthusiasm was just infectious, and I added it to the TBR. And the cover blurb also, the 2 cover blurbs are amazing. One by Ed McDonald says, "Lord of the Rings for the modern generation, an epic world full of history, depth, and adventure." You got me there. And then the second one from the Fantasy Book Review, "Everything I could possibly want in an epic fantasy novel." So that kind of sold me, plus Murphy's review. I'm very much looking forward to reading this. It's not that I didn't want to read some of these other authors. I saw, some John Gwynne, some Michael J. Sullivan, some authors I really want to read, just haven't started yet, but I didn't want to start and commit to a big series quite yet, because I'll be talking about that in just one second. But definitely looking forward to reading The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. So up next, I did a video earlier this year on my top 10 fantasy series that I hope to read. And I've read 4 of them already, so I had to purchase a few more to get into the next couple series, and that's what my next 2 things to talk about are. The first one is something that's pretty popular and kind of new, is the Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang. And Rebecca Kuang has received a lot of praise for this trilogy. There's a little bit of divisiveness with the conclusion of it. From what I hear, I just see a lot of people love it and a lot of people didn't like it quite as much. But it just seems like a perfect book series for the things that I like, because it has a lot of historical fiction influences into this fantasy tale. From what I understand, Rebecca Kuang wanted to tell the story of Chairman Mao, but changed Mao to a teenage girl who's a magic user, and set it in the past. And I'm really looking forward to reading the series. I have 2/3 of the trilogy here. I have the Poppy War, and I love these covers. They're just gorgeous. And then the second book is called The Dragon Republic. The third book, The Burning God, is lost somewhere in the U.S. postal system. I ordered a signed copy from the Harvard University bookstore, because Rebecca's doing a PhD there right now, so she signs books for them, and it's great to be able to just order a signed copy. And Harvard says they sent it. U.S. Post Office says it hasn't been sent, so I don't know where it is right now. Hopefully we'll figure that out, and I'll have that 3rd book soon so I can start this series. But I'm very much looking forward to reading the Poppy War trilogy by R.F. Kuang. Okay, so one thing I talked about in that series, top 10 series video, as well as my bookshelf tour. When I was giving my bookshelf tour, one of the things I pointed out is that I hope someday to have an entire shelf dedicated to J.R.R. Tolkien. Well, I'm one step closer to that, because I received probably my favorite gift of this birthday of mine, is this box set of the Great Tales of Middle-earth. And this is a sturdy box set. Sometimes they're just like paper thin. But this consists of 3 different books: The Children of Hurin, Beren and Luthien, and The Fall of Gondolin. I've actually read The Fall of Gondolin already. Didn't know it was part of this series, but they are kind of standalones. Beren and Luthien is a tale that I know from the Silmarillion. In fact, it was probably my favorite part of that book. So I'm looking forward to the full story of Beren and Luthien. And then The Children of Hurin, I don't know a whole lot about that, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading these. And these editions are beautiful. We have some Alan Lee illustrations, so I love this edition, and I can't wait to read these, can't wait to put these on my budding Tolkien shelf. All right, and last but certainly not least, nice leather-bound edition I'm going to show you here. So my favorite book, if you saw my book awards from last year, my favorite book of the year was The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. So naturally, I wanted to read more Dumas. Well, my Count of Monte Cristo edition is a leather-bound. It's one of the beautiful Barnes & Noble editions. So I wanted to make sure if I read more Dumas, I'd probably get another leather bound so that they can look real good next to each other on the shelf. Well, one of the Facebook groups I'm in, someone was selling this Easton Press edition of The Three Musketeers. And this is just a gorgeous, these Easton Press editions are so just solid and beautiful. You know, you have the ribbon and you have the gold inlay. And I'm so very much looking forward to this. I thoroughly enjoyed The Count of Monte Cristo, and I hope that I enjoy Three Musketeers as well. So hey, that's my book haul. If you've read any of these, I'd love to hear your take on any of those in the comments section. If you love it enough, maybe I'll bump it higher on the TBR list and get to it a little bit sooner. But that's some of the things I'll be reading in the next 2.5 months or so. So to hear me talk about those books and more, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter and Goodreads for more content. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.